It is a scene that can rival anything in motorsport.
In the world of professional racing, victory is only part of the story.
It's on!
Behind every race, every win, lies a journey.
Listen to that crowd!
A test of grit, resilience, and sacrifice.
It's going to come down to the final lap.
Over the course of the Super Motocross World Championship, bodies are battered.
Oh, my goodness.
Minds are pushed to the limit.
It's about to go down.
And the line between success and failure is thinner than ever.
Jet Lawrence wins, and he won!
It's a grind, a relentless pursuit, where even the smallest misstep can unravel months of hard work.
Oh, down goes Rock.
Where 3 high-stakes rounds at the end of a season can change the course of careers. Welcome to the Super Motocross World Championship, where the real story is not just who wins, but who can endure the hardships.
Welcome to your 2025 preview show for the Super Motocross World Championship. I'm your host, Jason Wygant, joined by our panelist of analysts that you will see throughout the year on our broadcast, Jason Thomas, Ricky Carmichael, James Stewart, Will Christian, and Adam Cianciarulo. We're really in great anticipation of what we expect to be a dynamic season, mostly due to the great athletes we have assembled. Jason Thomas, starting with Chase Sexton, former Supercross champion, motocross champion last year, a lot to prove this season.
When you think about Chase Sexton coming out of 2023, he was dubbed the heir apparent to just be the next superstar. He's kind of battling that with Jet Lawrence now, so what I'm looking for is for him to take the next step with Red Bull KTM, really gel with the team and get back to those winning ways in 2025.
Yes, Jet Lawrence, now the Super Motocross World Champion. That's who they're aiming for, and that includes Jet's brother, Hunter.
Yeah, just fell one spot short of winning that SMX World Championship. And this is a guy that was on the cusp of retirement, maybe, having so many injuries, comes out firing in his rookie season in the 450 class. I think he's going to be a guy to watch.
Yeah, fun matchup, brother versus brother there with the Lawrences. And we get the legend Eli Tomac. We weren't sure, James, about his career trajectory. He's back for one final season.
Yeah, and speaking of Jet and Hunter Lawrence, they were going after Eli Tomac. He was on top of the list, and yeah, this is going to be his last season, but the way he's been looking, Eli Tomac is for real. I think he's riding the best he probably has in his whole career. Eli should be great.
And it's great to have established veterans like that still competitive, such as Ken Roczen as well.
That's right, always a fan favorite, right, Jason? They absolutely love him. Recently turned 30, he's been doing this for a long time, but he's back from one, seemingly enjoying it more than ever, so he'll be one to watch.
Yeah, and the fans are enjoying Mr. Popularity. Aaron Plessinger last year proving he's a race-winning level competitor.
Yeah, well, AP has always had the personality, right? Everybody loves him. Opening ceremonies is always fun with him. But in the last couple years, he's proven that he can be a podium contender. He can win races, and I'm looking forward to seeing if he can make that next step.
Yep, and one rider you can never count out of any championship scenario is the two-time Supercross champion, Cooper Webb.
Yeah, Cooper Webb really knows the formula now. He took a huge step forward last year, back to getting on top again. So I think that will be the game plan again in 2025. He has a real chance of getting back there.
Now here we're primarily talking about the 450 class, the larger motorcycles, what we consider the premier division, but there's a lot of up-and-coming talent in the 250 class, led by the now two-time world champion, Hayden Deegan.
I mean, I love watching this kid because he tells it like he sees it, and he absolutely goes for it. And the thing is, he backs it up. I think he's great for the sport. He's a polarizing figure, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch him this year.
Now, the whole Super Motocross World Championship season is relatively new. This will be year 3 of this format in the sport, James. Just give us an idea of the two disciplines coming together.
Well, you have the Supercross, which is inside stadiums, and you got motocross. It's going to be over 31 races, 28 regular season, and then 3 playoffs. So these guys not only got to get through both series healthy, they got to be firing at the right time at that playoffs, and that's going to crown your champion.
Yep, and they're all chasing Jet Lawrence, who is the now 2-time Super Motocross World Champion in the 450 division, and I was able to catch up with the young Australian a few weeks ago to get his feelings on 2025.
Welcome, guys. Welcome to my home. When you walk in, you have 2 of my championship bikes. We're waiting on, I think, 6 more. We have a lot of special and favorite pieces in this house where it's hard to pick one.
At just 21 years of age, Jet Lawrence has already earned his spot alongside the all-time greats. But while the pressure at the top is immense, he hasn't lost his sense of humor.
So as 450 champ of multiple series now, how do you see yourself trying to grow the sport?
Doesn't really cross my mind much, just more so of how much can I be hated by everyone, trying to be as successful as I can. I got three 3 or 4 championships under my belt, and I wanna get to 2 digits, and then I wanna try and see how far I can get.
For the second year in a row, Jet Lawrence is the world champion.
What are your concerns for 2025? Are you worried about anything?
Losing a championship, I think, would be the only thing.
And 1-2 for the Lawrence boys.
Even if I got second, I think that would be the biggest disappointment. For Supercross, trying to go perfect, it's never been done. I might not do it at all, but I gotta set goals like that to make sure I wake up.
What do you like when you're not a racer?
It depends what month it is, to be honest, Jason. I've gone through tennis, bunker, golf. I'll probably be a car mechanic for a couple months, maybe, we'll see. It literally changes every week.
Let's talk about your relationship there with your parents. What is your relationship just like if you're meeting them for dinner, if you're hanging out with them? What is that relationship like?
Surprisingly, it's not any different to any other parent relationship, you know. I'm still getting yelled at to put my phone down at the dinner table and clean up my room and stuff like that.
Yeah, but that's actually impressive because look, a lot of people aren't working, so to speak, with their parents.
My dad is so in touch with the motorcycle, us. He's there, he's watching always, kind of learning the bike, trying to see what we can do better.
She's basically a team member. He knows exactly when they're uncomfortable. He's able to communicate with us. He's able to kind of set them straight when it's maybe something that they need to improve on.
Try to keep it fun.
Hey, Jet, I think every time we see you on camera without a long sleeve jersey on, we see more tattoos. You got some new ink there?
Yes. Right now, ever since Mum and Dad gave me permission that I'm allowed to get tattoos, each year I've kind of added new ink. The newest one has been this top one. It has down here, "We shouldn't be here." It's not done because I'm a put, but I am. These birds for my brothers. I got my mum and dad's birth year on my knuckles. We got an English bulldog and his bottom teeth stick out. He's got like a massive underbite. So I got his teeth tattooed. Who knows where you'll see me next and what ink I'll have, but it most likely will be sick.
He's a 21-year-old kid going on 17. Pretty carefree, funny. He's not intimidated by anybody. He doesn't let pressure affect him that much, so he's able to get the job done when he needs to, and this quickly in his 450 career.
Well, in a short amount of time, the 21-year-old Jet Lawrence has gone from rookie sensation and hopeful to now the established star of the sport. And I'm sure that comes with some changes.
Well, it does. There's challenges, especially from social media and the world that we live in these days, and he's experiencing that. And, you know, I don't think he's done a lot of things wrong to really yield that and get what he's getting, but that comes with the territory of being the best in the business, and that's what he is. But the guy has an incredible amount of talent, and I think of his journey and how they got to where he is today and the family. I mean, you think about that. They leave Australia, so everything they got, they go to Europe, could have easily not worked out. So you have to respect that talent. And the guy, he's super motivated. He wants to go out and break all the records. And that's what I want to see, if he can do that, because he certainly has the tangibles to do.
Yeah, and both of you experienced that life at the top. What is life like when you're suddenly the champion and everyone's coming at you?
It's challenging. I mean, honestly, when you're at the top, there's only one way. It's going down. And to me, when I listened to the kid, like, I could tell, like, he's hungry. Like, he's saying, like, you could tell he's motivated. He's upset at whatever is going on, but he's also a kid at the same time. He's talking about his dog. He's talking about the family, the phone at the dinner table. He's talking about tattoos, but he's also, you hear in his voice, he wants to dominate you guys as well. And so if I'm the competition, I'm like, man, the kid is still hungry, like he still wants it, but it's challenging for all of them. Anybody at the top of any sport is challenging, and Jet Lawrence is at the top of the sport.
Yeah, and there is no shortage of challengers for him, and we'll talk about those athletes when we return.
The Super Motocross season preview is brought to you by Monster Energy, proud partner of Monster Energy Supercross, and by Triumph, proud partner of Monster Energy Supercross.
Welcome back to your preview of the 2025 Super Motocross World Championship. And the contenders for that title now include Hunter Lawrence. What a great rookie season he was able to put in, and is certainly expecting more as a sophomore in the Premier Division. Here are his thoughts on the upcoming season.
Welcome, welcome. What's going on? Come on in. Milo, who's that? This the spot? Yeah, knock this out.
In a career that has been defined by resiliency, Hunter Lawrence has always been able to withstand the hardships.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
All while competing alongside his younger brother, Jet.
To think back when we left Australia, what dreams and aspirations we had. Travelled from Australia to Europe, from Europe to America, just to race the guys we watched on TV. In the movie, the storyline, the person gets knocked down and they get back up, you know, and to do that in real life, it's cool. I think that's what my father raised me and my brother really well on, was just mental strength. I said to my trainer and dad, I'm done, I can't do it anymore. I wanted to quit. I couldn't take the heartbreak anymore. And we worked our asses off even more and came back. So to get this, it's incredible. I have that grit and tenacity and that never say die attitude. If I win, great. If it's 5th place, then what can you do? You know, you go back, work, try and get better, come back the next weekend.
Having 2 brothers on the team, both at this elite level, yeah, it's pretty dang cool. They have a great relationship. The family has raised them to always be brothers first.
Hey, my name's Hunter Lawrence.
Racing with Jet, obviously, a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their head around the whole thing. He was the biggest pain in my ass growing up as a younger sibling. You're able to give Jet advice during the week to help him be the best version of himself whilst competing with him. If there's anyone I'd rather lose to, it's him. The fan experience, I think that's the most unique thing about our sport. If you look at other sports, MotoGP, Formula One, you're not getting up close. You see them from afar, you see them on the track, and that's it. We're our sport. You can, you know, at the trucks, the semis, in the pits, the fan fest, all that stuff, the fan can get up close and personal with their childhood heroes and their current heroes. As a kid, my perception of success was, oh, like, you had a nice car, like you had a sick sports car. So, I'm extremely blessed and fortunate to have some amazing cars. F12 Ferrari, V12, full race pipe on it, GT3, cool car, and then my 1995 Carrera RS. Trying to convince the wifey to either extend the garage or let me start putting them in the living room, but we're running out of space, so I'm a racer. It's what I do and what I love, so let's go, baby.
Well, Adam, pretty incredible that Hunter Lawrence, as a rookie, nearly won the title. He had the points lead going into the final race of the year, and it makes you wonder how much better he could be now.
With Hunter Lawrence, the 2024 season is kind of a perfect metaphor for his career. Starting down in the first turn, not even making the main event. And if you think back to a few years ago, he wasn't really looked at as a guy with the potential to be at the top of the premier class. And he's built himself into that. And I think right now, going into 2025, it's going to be very telling to see what the confidence of the first win.
First win in a 450.
A full rookie season under your belt, just a great playoff performance in general. See if that energizes him. I mean, just watching the video, he looks energized, looks like he's ready to go. I'm excited to see if he can get up there and prove that he can be as fast as somebody like Jet and Chase Sexton.
Yeah, what's great is with the success, Will, more spotlight. The fans are getting to see what a great personality Hunter really is.
Oh, and he really is, you know, what the jokes that he makes that we saw there in the interview. I mean, that's the real him. That's what the fans get every single day in the paddock when they get to meet him. A very intelligent guy too, but what fascinates me most about Hunter, and he alluded to it as we heard from him there as well, is these highs and lows and how well he handles it. Being able to ride those highs and lows, any sports psychologist will tell you that is the key. But truly, he's probably one of very few athletes that I've ever met who seems to have honestly accomplished that. Not just say he's got there, but actually seems to have that as his mantra and way of doing things. I think that is going to serve him very well in the upcoming season too.
And we were on the verge of a Lawrence brother takeover, going 1-2 in the World Championship, but there was one rider that was also in contention going down to the end of the year. The thorn in their side is Red Bull KTM's Chase Sexton. It's year 2 for Chase on the KTM motorcycle. He's a former Supercross champ. He's the current motocross champ. Here are his thoughts on 2025.
Change can be difficult. While his first season with Red Bull KTM was a success on paper,
Chase Sexton ends the year on top.
he did capture the AMA Pro Motocross Championship after all.
And he throws the ghost ride.
Chase Sexton knows he left a lot on the table in 2024. He sat down with James Stewart to discuss how he's improved.
It's been good so far. My second year on the team, obviously, I feel like I'm probably about 30% better than where I started last year. Because last year I didn't know going into A1 if I was going to be top 10. I was that bad. So
You can see the progression all year long. How much difference do you just feel on the motorcycle this year?
coming off the Honda, getting on the KTM, I thought I was just going to get on it and go out there and win. Like there was no doubt in my mind until started running into some problems, and I was like, my confidence honestly just went down the drain.
In the beginning of the season, it was challenging for us to pinpoint what he needed. Towards the end, we seemed to find a common ground with what he was needing and what we could deliver, and I think we're making headway.
So this is your third year coming into the playoffs. You got 2 different championships, but you also got a peak for the last 3 races. What makes it challenging?
It's hard because you want to win all of them, and that's obviously the goal, but you also have to be there throughout the whole season, and then the last 3 races, I've yet to finish that second moto. So this year the goal is to get through those last 3 playoffs. Last year we saw Jet win Supercross. I went outdoors, and obviously he won the SMX. He's obviously defending champion, so I like being in this position, kind of chasing a guy.
Some people would be like, Jet Lawrence is the guy. You went from being the guy, an injury, now you're trying to knock off somebody else. Like, how does that mindset, how do you feel?
If I'm at my best, I still don't think there's anyone that can beat me. Honestly, I'm just ready to go out there and try to overcome this challenge.
This year we have an East Coast swing, which is nice, and we get to go to Pittsburgh for the first time. Are you looking forward to that part?
I was looking at the schedule actually. I'm like, man, they have a lot of races, and then in like the upper northern area, I might just have to buy a house up there and just camp. I don't know.
What is the motivation for Chase Sexton going into 2025?
I mean, the motivation's simple. It's just to win. I mean, I'm 25 now, but I still feel like I'm like 22, and I feel like I have a lot to accomplish still. So 1 year older, more experienced, and more calm, honestly. Every year I come into this, I feel like I get more and more calm, and that's just honestly experience.
What is it about you that makes you so hard to beat?
I could be 10 seconds behind you, but I'm coming as hard as I can.
Here it is. He's got the lead. Last to first. Unbelievable.
So Chase Sexton just turned 25. The rider out of Illinois is really in what should be the prime of his career, but facing some really steep competition. What are the prospects for him?
The prospects for Chase is, I mean, clearly a champion. Like he's won a Supercross title, he's won a motocross title. I think for him, the way he's won those titles, just like those 250s, it's not satisfying for him because there's always been something. This year in the motocross, Jet Lawrence was out. You could say Chase Sexton was probably the best person, but because Jet Lawrence was out, I think that kind of eats at him a little bit. So he's in a tough situation. I'm looking forward to seeing if he can rebound on the second year of the KTM. But yeah, Chase Sexton is a champion, but he's got a long road to go to back it up.
Yep, and Adam, you used to ride actually with Sexton, so you've seen his talent firsthand.
I have seen it, Weege, and I think there has been times where I don't think anybody can go faster on a motorcycle than Chase Sexton. He has that ability, he has that talent, and if there was no such thing as Jet Lawrence, he would be probably the guy in the sport. But he does have some work to do in terms of getting to that level. I think Jet is looked at as the guy, right? Coming off a Supercross championship. Chase was able to get the outdoor title, but I think it's about proving that he can do it week in, week out, beat somebody like Jet straight up and be the guy. And knowing Chase as well as I do and how competitive he is, I know that's really important to him, and I know he's not going to stop until he gets there.
So Chase Sexton has already won the Monster Energy Supercross leg of this championship in 2023 and the 2024 Pro Motocross Championship, but he wants the full Super Motocross World Championship to seal himself as the top athlete in the sport. And if he doesn't do that, there's always more competition coming, including the 18-year-old sensation Hayden Deegan, who will profile later in the show. We'll be right back. As we continue to preview the 2025 Super Motocross World Championship, fans of the sport are thrilled to see that the living legend Eli Tomac has decided to return for another year of racing. His career was almost over after an Achilles injury while leading the Supercross Championship in 2023, but he's back for more.
Few names echo with the same passion as Eli Tomac. His fearless riding style, unwavering work ethic, and relentless pursuit of greatness made him one of the best ever.
Eli Tomac back on top.
2025, we'll be saying goodbye to a legend.
It's probably one of the hardest things for an athlete to decide is when is it time? If I would have won Supercross in 2023, I may already be done. But I'm healthy now. I still feel really good on the motorcycle. I'm gonna give this one more full season of SMX.
A question was posed to you about passing of the torch to Jet Lawrence. Eli Tomac hands over the reins to Jet Lawrence, who's on the come up. It very much seemed that you weren't ready for that step at all. You still wanted to go out and be that guy.
That's what's in my head, is that I can still be that guy, still be the top guy, you know, battling with Jet Lawrence and Chase Sexton. There's no way I would have signed up for 2025 for just a farewell tour. I still feel like I can be there. I'm not chasing a specific championship now. I'm just still chasing that checkered flag.
He wants to compete with those guys. It's just fun for him, I think.
So end of 2025, we're at the SMX World Championship playoffs. What emotions do you think you're gonna feel as he's rounding that final lap for the final time?
It's gonna be very emotional. It's gonna bring me to tears now. Just cause that's a hard one. With it approaching, it's bittersweet, but at the same time, we're looking forward to him being home more with us.
He's got that drive still. You know, he wants to win. And if that's his last lap, I don't know what I'll be doing, but yeah, it'll be tough for sure.
It's gonna be heavy.
Do those thoughts creep in of, what am I gonna do after racing's done?
Of course, raising the kids and being home a little bit. See what happens after that.
He's stepping into the farm life.
And he's got a house full of kids, so he's got plenty to occupy his time.
For me, I feel like I can be at a super high level and still do this for another year. So, you know, I'm gonna do the best I can, you know, to get that SMX championship in 2025.
Well, that's what all the Eli Tomac fans want to hear, that he's not just coming back, he's coming back to try to win. So if you're a fan, you want to get tickets, you want to go to the races, you want to see this in person, you saw him in person, and you saw how focused he still is.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely locked in, and we've seen this go different directions where riders come back and they just want to take it all in and really enjoy that final year because they know it's drawing to a close. That's not the Eli Tomac that I talk to at all. He is absolutely looking to go win another championship, and the intensity and the tenacity of Eli Tomac right now is a very different scenario than some of the former legends we've seen in that final season. This is a guy that's back and wants to win that championship.
RC, when you decided this is going to be my last season, and you did announce it in advance, what was the process like getting ready for you?
Well, for me, it came very, very easy because I knew it was the last trip around, and I put in the same amount of effort as I did every single year of my racing. And when I listened to Eli and I listened to the family talk, I feel that same tone, like they're happy, but there's still job to be done. And I feel like he's gonna be as competitive as ever. And if he's anything like I was as far as the mental part of the game going into my final season, I mean, you know it's the last time that you're ever going to race at that level, and things just come a little bit easier. The mental game was easier for me. And again, if he's anything like that, he could be dangerous.
Yep, and we've seen great battles through the years with Eli, and really his primary rival through the years was the veteran out of Germany, Ken Roczen. It's been about a dozen years, another fan favorite. And Roczen is another rider that you cannot count out of winning races or even the championship. Here's the latest on Kenny.
Since moving from Europe in 2011, Ken Roczen has been part of the conversation.
Kickstart Kenny wins! He's done it again!
From wins to title contention to injuries, he's always been there. But is the end near?
A lot of us are in our 30s now, and we're still ripping and fighting for wins and stuff. So I think the focus is establishing myself again after a couple of bad years, and from here on out, it's back to business, you know, trying to get some wins and just be in a good position towards the end of the year. You know, it's a very long season, and it's hard to stay in it. The sport's difficult, let's just say that. Family life for me is everything. My kids are in a really tough age, but fun age. They're a lot of work, you know, but they both have great personalities, and that's what makes it so fun. doing my training and everything, I've really figured out what works for me and how I can keep myself in the best shape over the season. I'm just gonna continue doing what I'm doing. I've been having a lot of fun and get back to where I was. I think the butterflies in the stomach, they don't ever go away, you know, no matter how long you've done it. And if they do, it might be time to like hang the boots up, but we'll see.
Well, it's great to have Roczen and Tomac back together. They've had so many great battles through the years.
Yeah, we've known Ken. I mean, he's one of the most, if not the most talented rider out there. He's got a great team manager in Larry Brooks. You know, his whole team that Suzuki he's on, he chose that, you know. So I think in that situation, you're seeing a rider who's really kind of picking his path. And from where he was a few years ago, maybe being down, he's always had the talent, and I love seeing it.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Will, because as the years pile up, you think there'd be more stress, more pressure. He's gone the other way.
Yeah, but I think he's been there and done that. He's gone through that dip. He was very open about it, spoke openly in the last few seasons, really, about the struggles of going, all right, how do I keep having fun with this? But he managed to refine that, to be able to go through the process of going, what did I love about this in the first place? What made me want to ride a dirt bike? And he seems to have recaptured that. I think the family helps, having his wife, Courtney, and his 2 sons around. You can see the smile on his face when he sticks them on the bike and just shows them what Dad does for a living, you know, and that's back, and it's going to make him very, very fun to watch on track.
Absolutely. And there is one rider in the field that we're never worried about having that dip in fun at any point in his career, and that's the cowboy Aaron Plessinger. Perhaps nobody enjoys coming to the races more than the rider out of Ohio, who is now morphed into a race-winning and championship contender.
I'm ready for some rowdy, beer-drinking fans, man.
While his outward personality is always bright, at times Aaron Plessinger has struggled with the confidence in his own abilities.
Aaron Plessinger, the real number 7 here. Thanks for taking the time, sitting down with me.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me.
I think a lot of people underestimate how fast you really are, dude. One point you had the red plate, got some race wins. Like, I guess going into this year in 2025, like, what is your goal?
The goal is to win, you know, to win, to be as consistent as I need to be. Some races, man, I don't know, I just get nervous. Like Detroit a couple years ago. Man, I was so confident. Like, I knew something good was gonna happen.
Yeah.
I feel like it's that, like, mentality that I need to keep. A really hard thing for me in 23 was just not knowing that I belonged up there. Yeah. And I feel like last year was a really, really good stepping stone for me.
Yeah, I was so happy to watch you win in San Diego. Dude, you belong.
Coming from you, that means a lot.
We all love you. When we were doing the outdoors this year, like, we knew who was coming up. Fans love some Aaron Plessinger.
I think why the fans resonate with me so much is they can relate to me because I'm a normal dude, you know? I just happen to be all right at racing dirt bikes. I'm just a big, hairy, winning machine, you know? No.
Well, when you see someone with that level of personality, obviously the fans embrace it. But is there a worry sometimes that that's not serious enough to perform on the racetrack, or can that be an asset in some way?
I think it can be more of an asset than a hindrance. I can see how it would look that way. But even, you know, in dirt bike racing, it's very gladiator-like. Like, a lot of the riders, it's not deeply personal, but a lot of us have some animosity towards each other because that's just the nature of the sport. With AP, it's the complete opposite. Everybody loves AP, and I think in a way, having a lot of friends on the track, I think that can be pretty helpful too.
And the performance has been on the rise, RC.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it when he first got in the premier class of the 450. I mean, he struggled big time, and that's a hard ship to get turned around, and he has really come up to the forefront of that 450 class this last year. He got his first win in the premier class, and I expect a lot more great performances like that this year in 2025 from AP.
Well, it's awesome to see Aaron Plessinger join the ranks of the championship contenders. One rider who has never been out of championship contention is perhaps the mentally toughest of all, and that's Cooper Webb. We'll talk to him when we return. The The Super Motocross World Championship begins January 11th. You can watch all 31 rounds on Saturdays from January through the World Championship finale in September on Peacock and the networks of NBC. Let's now talk about Cooper Webb. He's as mentally tough as they come. It's fun to watch him engineer ways to win races. Here are his thoughts on 2025.
What sets Cooper Webb apart? His unshakable mental fortitude. It's led him to 2 titles, but his story is far from finished.
Going into 2025, Coop, you know, you're racing against a lot of great guys. You got your teammate, Eli Tomac. You got Chet, Chase Sexton. How do you race each guy differently?
I think to race them differently is definitely tough, but I think that I have that experience and I kind of have that racetrack to know how to race them each a little bit different than the other. They all have amazing strengths. Eli is so aggressive and always hard on the gas, and Jet is a little bit more smooth and calculated. And then you have a Chase who is just so blistering fast. And at least for me, I look at all the guys and I try to take a little bit of piece from them and apply it to myself.
Being a gnarly competitor and just that grit that you've always had your whole career, do you think that is because of your upbringing and where you came from and just being a good old boy?
Hard to say, but yeah, I think so. I mean, I think the way you're brought up is super important, and just a good old boy from North Carolina that always puts his heart and effort 100% with everything I do, especially as an athlete.
What's home like?
Definitely a lot different nowadays. Full family man. We have a 2-year-old and a 5, or just turned 6 months, so girl dad life here. It's been awesome, it really has. I have a great wife and they support me 100%. They say, hey, go do your job, and when you come home, just try to be a good dad, and that's been a great balance for me. I just turned 29, like, I don't know how much longer I really have. I mean, I joke about it, but I say it all the time, it's the only thing I'm good at, so yeah, might as well keep it going.
Why is it, and how are you so strong mentally, and how do you think that's gonna help you in 2025?
I believe our sport, as physical as it is just as much mental, and if I can do something to disturb you or get you off your A game, then it works, right? And until it doesn't, why change it?
Do you ever think that you could have taken me down?
Oh, 100%.
Really?
100%, dude.
Do you ever feel
you
like...
had so many cheeks in your armor, it wasn't even funny. Yeah.
What was one of them, do you think?
You would just ride hard enough to like get a little gap, and then you just were just out there cruising. And then when Stu came along, he had someone to run with you.
Yeah.
He had you shaking in your boots. Nah, just talking crap. No, a lot of respect for the GOAT.
I appreciate that.
When we line up at Anaheim this year, there'll be 5 premier class champions on the gate, stack us on a starting line, and it truly is the best man wins. So I think when you do win or have success, it's like, man, I really did beat the best guys in the world.
Cooper Webb, I think we've learned our lesson, Ricky Carmichael. Never, ever, ever count him out. Even the way practice looks or the race looks, he finds a way.
Yeah, he's a mental game wizard at the end of the day. It's really that simple, and I just love his tenacity. Just when you think he's out of it, boom, he's there. And if he gets a line in you, it's game over, and that's what I really appreciate about his craft.
Yeah, as a former racer, that sounds like it's easy to do, hang in there, but I know it's not.
What I really like about Cooper Webb for 2025 is he is far ahead of where he was a year ago, sitting right now going into the season. If you look at how he showed up at A1, the preparation he's had coming into 2025, it is the perfect setup for a renaissance year from Cooper Webb.
There's a young teammate for Cooper Webb who races in the 250 class. He's already the 2-time world champion of that division, Hayden Deegan, the 18-year-old. We mentioned mental toughness with Cooper Webb. Where do you see this guy?
Perhaps no one in the last decade has come with more hype, showmanship, and true grit than Hayden Deegan. And success has quickly come along with it.
You are a 2-time Super Motocross World Champion. Can you talk to us a little bit about the journey that it's taken to get to this point?
It's definitely, I mean, it's come quick.
Danger money for Danger Boy!
Winning my first one at 17, that was the highlight of my career.
How did you develop such a strong work ethic?
Just built in me, though. Came off the womb like that with that work ethic, just to be a winner, and that's the goal.
By 2 years old, like, he loved it. He had all his little dirt bike toys. He built his little dirt, jumps in the yard and all that. I mean, he was obsessed. Sure enough, by 7 years old, he's racing. His passion was dirt bikes.
think about how much preparation we did in Supercross. Hayden had a Supercross track in his yard. He used to do a 20-minute moto before he went to school every morning at 7 a.m. For him to backflip a dirt bike at like 9 or 10 years old,
I backflipped.
he's just on another level mentally that he's just comfortable there.
There's been so much talk about your comments on the podium, and you fired back. You guys don't want me to be angry. Do you think that makes you ride even better?
If I go have a race where I go get third or something and they're like, oh, Deegan just didn't have the speed. And that's kind of where I came out that next weekend at Buzz Creek and I was like, oh, I don't have the speed, well, watch this.
250 National Motocross Champion.
After the race, if I win, you know, I always got some punchlines or something. On the line, it's just letting myself know that no one can beat you.
All I cared about on that line was destroying these dudes as bad as I could. I just wanted to annihilate everybody.
Hayden's first pro race, there was a line of thousands of fans in front of the rig.
Thought crossed your mind that you could be the first ever 3-time Super Motocross World Champion?
Right now, I'm undefeated. No one's beat me in the 250 class in these titles, the SMX ones. So the goal, yeah, three-peat for sure. We gotta try to tick them all off. That's the goal.
Let's go!
You've been one that's never scared to kind of speak your mind.
Honestly, I feel like, why not? I mean, every other sport, guys are talking crap. I mean, football, UFC, these guys are going at it, getting each other's heads, and as much as the other riders want to say it doesn't do anything, it really does, because I've beat you multiple times now.
It's safe to say Chance has one coming now. People doubting me, I don't doubt myself. I'm done with people talking sorry for my language, but it's true. I know Levi, man. I've trained with him for years. I knew eventually he'd start fading a little. Yeah, I got cut off on the start by Chance, and I get it. He obviously thinks he has a chance. I think I proved you guys wrong with the Santa theory. I'll never give up. I'll never give up, baby.
I actually don't mind people hating at all. Like, I'm like, if you guys don't like me, that is perfectly fine. I'm not gonna try and change your mind, because I feed off that energy as well. A few of the riders, I'm in their heads so bad now that I get behind them and you instantly see them make a mistake.
Oh no, is that Chance Hymas?
I don't know, I just work hard, ride my dirt bike, and people think of me like, this dude's gonna have like a big one soon. And it's like, not really though, because this is comfortable to me. This is how I ride. I feel completely safe turning it up.
Hayden Deegan, no doubt the next star of the sport. He did reward himself with an Audi R8 sports car, but what you marveled at, despite that, he's really keeping the eye on the prize.
What's so rare for an 18-year-old kid? Let's face it, he's really young to have the success he's had, to be this dedicated and this focused. He wants to go out and be a 3-time Super Motocross World Champion, but he's thinking about his 450 career and how is he going to go chase down Jet Lawrence and Chase Sexton. And riders, he likely has some of their posters on his wall. The Cooper Webbs, his own teammate. He's gonna have to face these guys down the road, and the work he is doing now is going to set him up to be capable of racing those guys down the line. That's a very rare thing for riders to have that much foresight.
Yeah, and again, at 18 years old. But Adam, we have to talk about the trash talk on the podium. It is not common in this sport, but it's pretty common for Hayden Deegan.
It is. He always seems to give us a highlight reel on the podium, and it really is a rare thing to have somebody as dominant as he's been, to go on the podium, to call out your competition, and he's made some enemies, but he still goes out there, backs it up, gets it done, and it's must-see television. I personally, I love it. I think he's staying true to himself. I think that's genuinely who he is. And I think it's going to do big things for him and Super Motocross in the future.
Yeah, we look forward to that. But in the present, there's a bunch of other 250 contenders that would like to stop him, but he continues to back up his words. The likes of RJ Hampshire, Austin Forkner, Joe Shimoda, Levi Kitchen, Pierce Brown, a very deep field of riders in that class who will be chasing Deegan in 2025. We'll be right back. Welcome back to your preview for the Super Motocross World Championship in 2025. The biggest headline news as far as riders and teams, no doubt, the 4-time world champion from Spain, Jorge Prado, moving to America full-time, now with the Monster Energy Kawasaki race team. Let's get to know the young Spaniard.
While we got a glimpse of Jorge Prado in 2024, the 2025 season will mark his full-time debut in Monster Energy Supercross.
First year, big change. What are your expectations?
My expectations are high. I'm a world champion, and obviously world champions want to win. But I'm also realistic, so coming into Supercross, I feel like I need to take it easy in the sense of step by step. I think that's the right mentality for me. Since a little kid, I've always been dreaming on racing the Supercross Championship. I felt like it was the right time to come over and go ahead in my career with a different goal.
How do you feel about the competition over here in the U.S.?
I mean, it's cool to race with different riders. I've been now dealing with the same guys for a few years now, and getting to know new rivals and the way they race is only going to make me a better rider.
Living here for the first time, what's it like?
I'm very happy I moved to California, very close to the test tracks and still close to the beach and just, let's say, a more normal life.
Why did you ultimately end up deciding to sign with Kawasaki?
All the experience they have, all the championships, I think they're the right ones to make me go out and help me out to win races. I'm just in the right place.
I made the bike look good though, right? That's kind of why you wanted it number 9, right?
I saw you racing and I was like, I got that bike.
I need that bike.
Yeah.
Behind me at Anaheim, and you're like, next year that thing's mine.
So, Will and James, there's 2 big changes here. Him making the move and also moving to a new team. You've spoken in the Kawasaki squad. This is big for Kawi, who has not won a Premier Class title since Eli Tomac several years ago.
That's right, and they're very aware of it. Talking to them, you know, it's like they use phrases like breath of fresh air. You know, I think they're looking to Jorge as much what they know about him as an established champion coming off 2 Premier Class championships. But there's also this unknown, because to your point there, everything's changed. And they said they need to give him that time. They spoke to me about the fact that expectations, kind of a fine balance, right? You're dealing with a champion, so you know what he's capable of, you know his skill set and his talent. But there is so much to learn, and they even cited stuff like the cultural changes, said, you know, he's got to get a driving license and a bank account over here, and all these things that you wouldn't think of that are just going to be a big switch to him. So I think from a team perspective, as well as for Jorge, this is definitely building blocks, figuring out Supercross, but expectations there, he's used to winning, and that's going to be interesting to see that unfold as the season goes on.
Yes, in Europe, and he's Europe's best racer, but they don't race Supercross over there, and he's adjusting to a new team, James. So how patient does everyone need to be before we expect the results?
I mean, very patient, and we'll just hit it. Like, not only the culture change, you know, whether to go to in and out, what time, you know, 405 traffic, the fact that, like, he is a world champion, he's used to winning, he's going to have to be patient, the team, his family, because I don't think that's going to happen, like, right off the bat. Like, I think people kind of overlook all these changes that he has to deal with. And then on top of that, he's got to learn to race Supercross. He came over last year and he was able to ride and he showed a lot of promises, but this year is a whole different when those guys are lining up, the points are on the line, and he's got to figure it out. So patience is going to be a huge thing for Jorge, his team, and I think if he can get through that, I'm excited to kind of see this growth that he's going to have to make to be a serious threat for this title.
And Jorge Prado is just adding to a field that already might be the toughest ever in the history of the Super Motocross World Championship. His own teammate Jason Anderson, a former Monster Energy Supercross champion, up-and-coming stars like Justin Cooper, and veterans like Christian Craig, Justin Barsha, and Dylan Ferrandis. There's so much more to unpack. We've never had 5 former Supercross champions all on the gate at the opening round in Anaheim until 2025. We'll be back to the panel with more thoughts after this.
The Super Motocross season preview is brought to you by Monster Energy, proud partner of Monster Energy Supercross, and by Monster Energy Supercross 25, proud partner of Monster Energy Supercross.
Welcome back, previewing the 2025 Super Motocross World Championship. Let's show you the schedule where we will determine who the best off-road motorcycle racers in the world are. It starts with the indoor campaign, Monster Energy Supercross inside America's great NFL and baseball stadiums, starting in Anaheim, California, Angel Stadium, January 11th. The California swing will eventually move east. Interesting to note, Tampa, Florida returning to the schedule this year, and for the first time ever, a 4-race swing through the Northeast: Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, New Jersey just outside of New York City, and Foxborough just outside of Boston, Massachusetts. That's new for the series, should be good for the fans up there. Summertime, we switch to the traditional Pro Motocross calendar, the dates and the tracks that are historic hallmarks of the sport, including the July 4th celebration at Redbud, and the championships will be handed out at Budds Creek, Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C. And then the playoffs and World Championship run begins in September, with those locations to be announced later. That's the schedule. Again, you can watch all 31 rounds live on Peacock and the NBC family of networks. Or for our international viewers, check out the SMX Video Pass, which will now feature simulcast broadcasts in Spanish and French. You can also catch all the Super Motocross races on Telemundo Deportes. There's so much to think about going into 2025. Jason Thomas, what's on your mind going into January 11th?
Having a moment to spend with Eli Tomac and thinking about this is the last opportunity he has to go out a champion. And he mentioned specifically that the one thing he hasn't accomplished is winning that Super Motocross World Championship. And the work he's putting in now, I want to see if he can harness that magic one more time in 2025 and go out a winner.
What do you think, RC?
Well, I'm thinking about the Super Motocross World Champions, and can they defend their title? You got Jet Lawrence, he's won it 2 times in the 450 division. You got Hayden Deegan in the 250 division. He's a 2-time SMX World Champion. Can they go three-peat? That's what I'm looking forward to. James?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm looking forward to seeing what Hayden and Jet does, but really looking forward to Chase Sexton. I mean, I almost feel like somewhat disrespected. He's your defending motocross champion. He was your defending supercross champion in 2023. So can he find that form that he found in the motocross? Because that guy can beat anybody that we mentioned. So looking forward to that. What about you?
The Super Motocross World Championship, we've just said it a bunch of times, is a world championship, and we have never had such a depth of international riders across 250s and 450s. We talked about Jorge Prado jumping in from Spain on that, Japan, France, Australia, England. Everybody is coming over here to the US to ride this championship because they know that that is where it is at. It is the pinnacle of the sport, and that's just getting more exciting as we move forward.
Yeah, and for me, it's all about Jet Lawrence. He is the guy in our sport right now. And as Ricky and James can attest to, the longer you're at the top, the harder it is to stay there. Jet has accomplished so much in the sport. He's won everything there is to win, and he's not even 22 years old. That's a lot of pressure on a young kid, and I'm looking to see how he responds to that.
Yes, there are really so many storylines to follow as we anticipate what might be the most stacked and intriguing season in the 50-plus year history of this sport. That now includes playoffs and the crowning of the Super Motocross World Champion at the final in September. It all starts January 11th, Angel Stadium in Anaheim. See you there.